Hello, lovelies. It's G here from Golden Thread Tarot, and I'm here to bring you another channel message. I hope this message finds you blessed and full of abundance. I'm sorry I'm rushing through the intro, but I'm having so many downloads right now, you guys. So right now, it's March the 6th, 2023. This is a timeless message for you. You find it whenever you're supposed to. This is not going to be like one of my normal channeled messages. This is going to be a big, giant paradigm shift collective message, because I am so high energy right now, you guys. I think I'm definitely affecting the technology around me a little bit, because like I'm so high vibe right now. I am having a complete enlightenment experience, that is about like my divine purpose, my divine path, things that I'm supposed to do, things I'm supposed to be researching. It's really crazy. Yeah, past life activations for real though. Oh my God. Heck yes. What's behind that? Earth healing. Absolutely. So I am going to pull some cards, some oracle messages, but I'm going to have a long talk here. I've been having a lot of crazy dreams here recently that have just been enlightening me about my path and about things that are happening around me. Yes. So there is a lost civilization out there. Also, you guys, I have been researching the workings of Graham Hancock, which I know I'm kind of late onto the scene to this, but Spirit's saying you're never late. Like you discover things and figure out things right when you're supposed to. So like Graham Hancock is this scientist. I'm not sure exactly, but like he is like a scientist. He is like a philosopher. He has this whole theory that he's been working on for the past like 20 years, 30 years of his life, about how there is this master, not master, I almost said master race, whoa, calm down. But like this like mother civilization, I think is what he calls it, that we lost because of some kind of like astrological events, which he is hypothesizing was like pieces of a comet broke apart, and it basically caused this apocalyptic, like extinction level event in our past, in our society's past. And I got this huge download about how to me, I've been not researching, but I've been really interested in the story of Genesis, and I've been really recently, especially around humans gaining sentience and gaining intelligence, like and gaining the type of intelligence that we have now, where it's the great like I am a being having an experience here, having the knowledge, right? So it's kind of like that Genesis of like Adam and Eve, like the man and the woman, and then they have this burdensome knowledge that's placed upon them, like, oh my God, I'm not just an animal free out in the woods, like I have to be aware. I am naked. I need to be clothed. Like there is like this like burdensome knowledge, because it's basically like this ignorance was bliss. We were blissful. We were ignorant. We were just monkeys running around in the woods, in the forest, in the jungles. And like our struggles were just like regular struggles, of survival, just living and thriving and trying to create. But then we were burdened with the great knowledge of having an existence, of waking up, of having our intelligence placed into our being. And we had this sentience placed inside us, this elevated intelligence of, I'm not just a thing here, and I'm not just trying to eat and drink and fuck, right? and make, I am so much more. I am more than this. I am a being having an intelligent, I am having a life here. I'm having an experience here, and having that knowledge, and how that knowledge can give us power, but also for so many of our human years, we have seen it as almost like a burden. And like, I got this download of a lot of our major religions that we celebrate now in our modern day society actually are based on shame, and why so much of them are based on shame, and how and why at some point in the past, it seemed like ancient civilizations were so much more connected in and like locked in, and they had so much of a deeper understanding, like very like shamanistic cultures had such a deeper understanding, because this massive extinction level event happened that set our society back to, it's like, what do you think would happen? Like, think about nowadays when people go through traumatic events. You go through a traumatic event, like something, I don't know, that we would, when we consider like a massive object slamming into the earth and causing like everything around you to die and to burst into flames, and like feeling like the world is over, and the mountains are ripping apart, and there's all this geological activity happening all around you, and all of this like massive megatons of dirt and earth and rock being like thrown up into the air, which is like blocking out the sun, which is causing, drop in global temperatures, which is causing, famine, which is causing like, floods and tsunamis and everything happening around you, and how it would almost seem like, because I tapped into these people last night, I was watching actually a podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast, where, it was Graham Hancock and Russell. I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name. It's like Cullum or something like that. Cuslum. It has like a C and an L. I'm so sorry, but like, about how they have this whole theory about how their two theories are like, there was a mother society from Graham Hancock, and then Russell's idea of the fact that there's geological evidence of this massive extinction level event of something slamming into the earth, and there were definitely humans alive, and about how all these stories, all these biblical stories of, like great master floods and like all of this and how all of our creation stories sound very similar. When you go back far enough, like all of our creation stories sound similar, and there's something more to this. It's not just, oh, this story is biting off this story and biting off that story, and like they're like feeding off of each other and just being like, oh yeah, we'll just make that our creation story too, but where there's actually some kind of intelligence here, right? And how Graham Hancock is, philosophizing that there is, or theorizing, not philosophizing, theorizing that there is, that there was this advanced society, which we might look back and we might not consider them advanced, like technologically advanced like we are, but they were so much more advanced in their minds because they were so much more tapped in. And I asked Spirit to like show me the truth about this society, and asked me to, and Spirit really started tapping me into this knowledge of the fact that these people lived, that basically like every single person in this society was quote unquote woke, like they were out of the matrix, like all of them, like from a young age, they all meditated, they all like basically did like early forms of like yoga and things like that before yoga existed, like how all of them were so tapped in, and like almost all of them were psychic, they were all channelers, how they all had this connection, and they literally felt a direct spirit connection to like the trees and the earth and things around them, not just like woo woo, like, oh, I'm connected, but like actually like a physical, like metaphysical, quantum physical, based on like waves, connection, like a real actual, could be proven by science, and it will be proven by science, Spirit is saying in the future, connection to the things around them. Not just, oh, I feel it in my spirit, but like, yeah, like, yes, like there are things that people consider like the woo-woo spirituality stuff that's just a form of science that we don't understand, which is, I mean, back in the day, we used to think that thunder and lightning and earthquakes were woo-woo because we thought it was the gods doing things to us, and now we've just come along to think like, no, it's just a natural part of how the world actually really works. And Spirit is saying that this age of Aquarius is issuing in an understanding, a deeper understanding of really questioning the boxes that we put ourselves into, and really questioning why we question so many of these religious texts and stories, because Spirit is saying that of course that Spirit is going to, because once upon a time, making something so important as God came down and told me this story is the only way that people are going to continue to tell this story, or the only way. When we create these mythologies and when we create this deeper knowledge within our, it's a really serious way that we actually end up. There's a reason, right, that thousands and thousands of years later, we still know these stories, right? Because they are embedded so deeply into our consciousness as a human race, because there is some truth to them. And Spirit is saying within the next 10 to 15 years, we are going to be discovering that a lot of this stuff that we call woo-woo is actually a form of science. That our spirituality is actually, that spiritualists, that, yogis tapping into nirvana and stuff like that, there's actually science behind that. It's not just you having what we would call spiritual experience. And Spirit is reminding me of the scene from Harry Potter, where at the end of it, Harry, no, quote unquote, dies and goes to heaven, and he's sitting there talking to Dumbledore, and he's like, Professor, he's like, is all of this real, or is it happening in my head? And Dumbledore's like, of course it's happening in your head, Harry, but why does that make it any less real? So it's like, of course it's happening on an out of body experience. It's a spiritual experience, but that doesn't make it any less real. Just because you don't have the scientific instruments to measure it yet doesn't make it not real. And that is really hard for a lot of scientists, because that's literally the type of form of science that we have accepted, is that that's the type of science that we have accepted, because it's like, oh, I need to be able to put this under a microscope, or I need to be able to put this in a lab, and I need to be able to recreate it in a lab. But it's like, how many times, like how many thousands of people have had psychic impressions? How many thousands of people have had all of these religious experiences? How many thousands of people have to know this mass consciousness before you'll actually consider it a science, before you'll actually consider it something that has some kind of merit, that isn't just based on something in our head, that isn't just based on belief? And there's too many scientists and there's too many people out there that shoo like this whole incredible vast mass consciousness that's out there that humans could tap into, because they want to consider it not real, because they can't put it under a microscope yet. And, or put it to the test, put it into some instrument and have a machine tell you, yes, this is real. Ding, ding, ding. I can recreate this. It's real. But because there's so many people out there that you can't do that yet, and that's not spirit's fault. That's not spiritual's fault. That's y'all's. Like, that's our fault. We're just not advanced enough yet to have the instruments to actually, capture this, to actually have proof, quote unquote, proof. You want proof so freaking bad. Like, that's what this collective consciousness that I'm tapping into is like. Why do humans have to, they have to just have it like forced in front of their face before they're like, oh, I think this is real. It's like, how many thousands of years of proof that this existence, like, when is it going to be enough? When is it going to reach that threshold where people are like, oh, this shit's real? It's getting there. They're trying to have patience with us. They're trying to be understanding of us, but they're just like, we understand that it takes thousands, hundreds of thousands of years of technology, and it takes hundreds of thousands of years of development as a race to get to the point where you're like, oh, there's this whole extra level of knowledge that we can understand, and that what we call spirituality, magic, right? Now they're reminding me of that phrase from like Thor, from like the first Thor movie from like the Marvel universe, where it's like Thor is sitting there and it's like, what you and your people call magic, we call science, because we're thousands of years older than you, and so we have the capability of actually just believing it now. We just understand that it's a higher evolved level of science that we don't quite understand yet, or that we can't, that the dogma of our society has made us question, or has made us go, I can't put it in a machine and the machine can't tell me, yep, it's true. I can't carbon date a spiritual event, so it's not real. That kind of stuff. So I'm not trying to like make fun of those people, because I understand how it's like, okay, like I can really prove something to be true when I can do that to it. But this age of Aquarius is about to issue in a lot more of understanding of, just because you can't put it into a machine that gives you parts per million of, the weight of a soul, doesn't mean that it is not there, that it doesn't exist, that it's not a part of your body, that it's not a part of your consciousness, that it's not a part of this vast level. Like, spirit showing me is like, we know this much, and there is this much out there for us to know. And this is all of the existence that we know and that we have, all the knowledge that we have as a human race, which is vast to us. But that compared to like basically this whole room that I'm in. So this much of this whole entire room that I'm in is actual knowledge that we have, and it's like, there's all this knowledge that we have to tap into. And we just have to realize, we have to take ourselves out of this little tiny box to crack that open and realize, like, wow, there is so much more out there for us to understand. There's so much out there. And Spirit saying, in due time, in due time. I think that it's just being filtered through my like human experience, through my human and I'm like, I'm ready for people to know this. I'm ready for people to know this. Like, come on, like, let's go. Everybody else catch the fuck up. Like, hello? Hello? Why is this so hard? Why is this so hard why is there such this rejection of spirituality? And I really think that, again, I want to take this back around, that Spirit is saying that there is a lot of our modern day, which I know this is going to be a controversial subject, okay, that a lot of, not modern day, but I feel like there's a lot more spirituality getting folded into our modern day religion. But the basis of a lot of the major religions around the world and this is just my opinion, but I can see it, is based in shame. It's based in shame. It's based in fear. Go to church or the devil will get you. Like, if you don't believe in this, if you don't come and give us money, you're going to go to hell and you're going to burn in hell forever. Like, what? Where did God say that? Where did God say that I had to go make some pope rich? So what? So he can hide people that touch on little kids? Okay, that's a whole nother subject. Are y'all ready for that? I don't know. Just saying. I'm just saying that there are people in this world, and people have the capacity for many different things, and we need to stop living in such. There are so many truths that are right in front of us that we don't want to feel, that we don't want to face because it would hurt. That's what it's the fear of facing the truth that keeps so many things hidden from us. Spirit says there's so many things that if we would just face the trauma and heal from it, we could advance as a society. We would advance as a society. There's so many generational traumas. There's so many, and that's what this extinction level event happened. It created a massive scar in our consciousness as a species because people back then were basically like, oh snap, like our gods and our goddesses abandon us. Like, what would it feel like if, people today feel that way? People today feel like God has abandoned us just because we have war and famine that's been happening for centuries, So imagine the type of abandonment that you would feel when some huge, like, moon-sized thing came, like, crashing into no, it wasn't a moon-sized thing. That would end the earth. But, like, this object just fell down from the heavens, from the sky, and created this massive extinction level event where there's floods and, the mountains are opening up and there's all this, platonic tech, like shifting and like, creating like darkness all in the sky and, like creating like mass famine, mass die-offs, and this happens. We have historical records of this happening, throughout human existence. It just happens in like little mini scale, but this is like on a big magnitude scale, where we have all of these people and all of these animals all dying off and all this fauna dying off, like, and all of this flora dying off. And so it's like, ooh, like there it is. It's staring you right in the face. And about how psychologically, I feel like spirit is really guiding me to create some kind of knowledge here about how psychologically that would really affect a society. Imagine like the human race is pushed to the brink of extinction. What kind of psychological impact would that have on the human race? We can imagine that now. We can imagine when we have hurricanes and we have floods and we have mudslides and we have like war, or we have, like cities being devastated because of stupid little petty squabbles we're having now. Now imagine that happening on a global scale. What kind of long-term psychological effect would that have on the human race? Now, understand the fact that it's already happened before in the past, that this huge extinction level almost event happened to the human race. What kind of psychological scarring would that pass down within us, especially with the fact that it was a natural occurrence, and how so many ancient peoples believe that these natural events happening were gods and goddesses, or like God punishing us, like something from above us, like punishing us when these big giant events would happen, right? I mean, think about, the story of Noah and the flood, like, oh, everybody was being bad and evil, and so God flooded the earth and only allowed the good people to survive. People do that now to deal with the psychological grief of having we know now that people have, what is it called, where like you have like a survivor's guilt, where you create all these stories and you have all these different ways. The human mind worked pretty similar back then to the way that it does now. We're a little bit different, a little bit more evolved, but in the evolutionary scale, we're pretty much working with the same brain that they did back then. And so if we understand that, that if an event like that happened, what would we do? how far would our brain go to justify this happening to us so that we could actually survive and keep going? And so Spirit is saying that these ancient peoples were so much more connected in, had this sense of connection because they hadn't had this sense of rejection yet. They hadn't dealt with this massive scarring, like soul scarring that they went through of this extinction level event of like thousands and thousands of people. Like you could walk, like I tapped into a collective of people that were like, it showed me like 3 or 4 different stories of, it was one person that was just like, everything suddenly was just on fire. And this person said that they walked and walked and walked for miles and miles and miles and miles, and everything was dead for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. They walked for days and days and days on end, and it was just nothing but just death and devastation in front of them everywhere. Like the grass was dead, the animals were dead, the people were dead, the streams were dried up, the trees were leveled, like that it would feel like the whole world had died. There was another person that they tapped me into that was literally just sitting there like creating something, like they were like weaving something or doing something, and then there was just, they looked up and like there was just bright star in the sky, like almost like a second sun, but much, and it like blinded this person. And then there was a loud sound, louder than they had ever heard, so loud that it busted their eardrums and that their ears were like bleeding. And they were like, oh, I've never heard a sound this big before. How do I quantify, like how do I express to you what it would sound like, right? What would it sound like? Even being hundreds of thousands of miles, like being like miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away. Like we know now that when events like this happen, like you can hear it for, miles and miles and miles away. When these explosions happen, people can still hear them. Now imagine being, imagine something that huge slamming into the earth. It would literally be like, what is it? They're showing me like Superman's cry when he dies, and it like boom, like all around the whole world. Like that's how it would be. Like it would be a sound heard around the world. Like every place on the earth would hear some kind of sound. The earth itself all over would rumble, would shake, the mountains would crack open. And it's like this person was saying there was something so bright, like a second star. That's what they're calling it, a second star. But they're using different words, obviously. But I'm having to translate from their language to my language. But they're speaking to me in like pictures and words and stuff like this, yeah. So it's like this second sun was in the sky, and then there was this followed by this like great heat, and by this like great fire, and then like the sky itself looked like it was on fire, and then like everything just died everywhere all around them. Yeah, that everything everywhere around them just died, and everybody was walking. The people that managed to survive just walked. And this one person said, I did not see the sun, I did not see the sky, I did not see the sun for 300 days. Like this person was like, I walked and I walked and I walked and I walked, and for 300 days I did not see the sun. Like I could not see the sky. It was nothing but black clouds. So the sky was on fire. And then they were like, the sky got burned by this second sun that the gods sent down to us, is basically what these people were saying. Like, so that was the kind of consensus that got passed down, is that like God sent down a second sun, and the sun pulled itself down to the earth and like burned everything for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles, and just caused all this devastation and craziness. And they were like, so to basically psychologically deal with that, their brain, like a whole generation, like generations upon generations of people got put into survival brain, which meant that their ego took over for generations and generations and generations. Like, it's just, I have to live, I have to live, I have to survive, I have to survive, I have to survive, I have to survive. Like, I might die any moment. I'm scared. And there's this whole psychological breaking down for years and years and years of, you have to be scared, this could happen again, at any moment we could die, there could be, that's why modern day society is obsessed with like apocalyptic events and TV show and zombie outbreaks and all this other stuff, because that's what it would be like. Think about what it would feel like to legitimately walk around. I'm very blessed to live in a first world country, to live in America where I do, where we don't really have to be exposed to that kind of like mass famine and things, but there are still places around the world that are, and what does a person who hasn't eaten for days look like, who hasn't eaten for weeks, for months look like, who they look like what we envision a zombie looking like. And that's what people would look like. Everybody would start to look like that. Everybody would get savage. Everybody would be so hungry that they would start eating other people, right? It's meat. You're meat. And if I haven't seen another animal and it's between me and my kids and my family dying or us killing you to live, that's what we're going to do, when it really came down to it. So I really feel like that's where a lot of these apocalyptic events that we have, and how we have like all of these zombie outbreak scenarios where it's like our worst fear is that something will take over us and that we will be forced. But it wouldn't, honestly, it doesn't take people that long to go back to a very animalistic state when it comes down to I'm going to live or I'm going to die, to go from, I mean, we have evidence of things like the Donner Party and things like that. The Donner Party, where people like they ate each other to survive, right? So, like, what do you think would happen back then when all the woolly mammoths are dying and when all the animals around you are dying and the things that are around you that are still living are people and they're already dying and they can't defend themselves, and it's like, this is meat for my family to live, so there would be all this soul scarring of all of these really terrible things that you would have to do to survive, because all of us that exist now come from the people that were like absolute crazy badasses that did probably horrible, unspeakable things, honestly, to live and to survive through that time. Or, and then how it would create this society of people afterwards that had all of this internalized trauma from the things that they had to do to survive as a people, that they had to do to survive as a race. So, which is why Spirit is saying over time, subconsciously, so many of our religions come from this place of, in the old school testament, like an old school testament God that will punish, that will burn, and that that's why we have all these old stories of the fact that it's like, oh, by the way, don't forget, we live in a world that has a vengeful God in it, that at any point, if we fuck up, could send an asteroid down and burn our society to death like they already did in the past before, So there is this kind of, so Spirit is wanting there to be this collective shift in people, where people wake up and they're just like, yo, like, why do you think that all of the things, like, incorporate psychology? That's what Spirit wants to say. When you are looking backwards, which a lot of people obviously are doing that, but when you are looking backwards and you are putting together all these different events, like all of this, like spirituality, religion, everything about us as a society, as a people, would have been affected and would have been touched by this, and would still be, with some major event like that would literally almost take out the human race. It would take generations. It would take hundreds, thousands, like hundreds of generations for something like that to be washed out of our collective consciousness, which is exactly what this paradigm shift is really bringing in. There's been other paradigm shifts, but it's like Spirit is saying, like, it created like this crazy shift in the human knowledge and the human consciousness when this crazy event happened where we all had to shut down and go into animal survival brain, and it made our egos so much stronger, right? Which is why now we struggle so hard and we have such a hard time controlling our ego now, because at some point in the people that survived were people that had that stronger ego. So that stronger ego, that stronger survivor instinct within us was bred into people, because that's how evolution works. when something has a characteristic that allows it to survive, that characteristic gets pushed, right? And when you have a characteristic like being all love and light, and that doesn't really promote your survival in certain times, that gets pushed away, right? And our human bodies were like, I'm going to instead of prioritizing enlightenment and connection to the stars and connection to higher things, I'm going to prioritize this earth and living, because like I have to. I don't have a choice. I have to. Excuse me. Hair just like flew out of the air and was like blop right on my tongue, and I'm like, whoa. And so there is like, so Spirit is saying like, you guys are working you got the generational trauma that you guys, that the years of light workers, the years of earth angels, the years of star seeds that have been coming down here. We've been coming down here since the beginning and the dawn of the human, of, of enlightenment. We've been coming here from before you were just monkeys and trees. They're saying, our consciousness has been coming here, seeding this evolutionary step here, seeding you guys, making it, because we're interested in who you are as a people. And spirit is like, we want you to live, like we want you to create consciousness here. Human beings living creates, bodies for souls to come down here into the 3D and learn and develop and have experiences, right? And that's exactly what the point of us existing is God wants to have an experience. So God breaks off a piece of its eternal existence and gives it life into a soul, right? But this God wants souls to exist on many different planes, having many different experiences. So at some point, the ether planes weren't enough, and so they created an actual physical plane for us to exist on, so that we could have a different type of experience. And because this 3D experience of existing in this world, and let's just face it, like survival, nature, doggy, we forget that as humans. We forget that because we live in our nice little homes with our computers and our smart devices, and we forget that the world outside of here, that the animal world living right outside, is like eat or be eaten, die or be killed, like it's right there, right around us. It's happening around us all the time. We just don't think about it, there are survival, animals having to fight to survive every single day all around us. And we're just the lucky ones that made it to grow a brain big enough to be like, oh, I can create a shelter. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can think at a higher level so that I can take some of this animalistic struggle off of me. But if we're going to continue as a human race to develop, we're going to have to continue to develop ourselves. And our next step of our existence isn't so much about our bodies, developing our bodies, but it's more about developing, expanding our minds and our spirits, right? And allowing this kind of higher spiritual knowledge to come back into our bodies so that we can develop as a human race, because they understand. They're like, when massive level extinction events like this happen, it creates like a wave in the collective consciousness that really sets us back psychologically, sets us back physically, sets us back technologically, sets us back everything, everything that we had learned. So much of what we had learned got lost, so much of the advancement that we had made as a human race got lost. And you have to work our way back up there, and it takes time to do that, and pretty much, I mean, they're saying that besides the spiritual aspect of it, which they've been working on slowly by slowly, teaching us how to evolve outside of our egos, right? We've far bypassed the mechanical and physical technological advances that we were making. We've by far already passed that. I mean, because honestly, hey, my cat just, y'all, cats are some kind of other type of creatures, okay? Like, I don't know what their issue is with like just knocking stuff off of surfaces. Did somebody study cats? Can somebody tell me why they do that? Why do cats do that? Why are cats just like, fuck this? Like, why are they like that? Like, they have this need to just like unearth things and just like, blah, like, I'm just gonna just throw this off this surface. Why? I don't know. Baby. Hold on, my dog wants to go out. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so I know that there are plenty of people out there that probably are researching this. They're just not as well known. They just don't have as big a voice as some other people out there, and I understand that no, I'm not even gonna say that. Okay, so yeah, after I had that, I felt really good. But I feel like that's as much of the story that I was shown, that I'm feeling guided to share with you at this point right now. So, okay. So, Spirit, yeah. Thank you, Spirit. Half on it. Hello? 3 of Swords is massive amounts of heartbreak and heartache being healed, right? 3 of Swords in reverse is about that massive consciousness being healed, that massive heartbreak that's lying deep within our hearts, So Spirit is saying that, you know how people have this thing to think that they think, oh, there's a darkness, there's this hole in humans that they always feel the need of wanting to fill. And that hole is a deeper connection to the spiritual realm. Is a super deeper connection that this hole that they feel like they lost is this connection that we're talking about reestablishing here, the world. You know, this is the paradigm shift that spirit has been working on for thousands of years here on this planet. Like, Spirit's like, you guys get impatient when you have to wait at a stoplight. Imagine having to work on something. Or like scientists get frustrated when they have to research something and their research gets proven after like 30 years of working on it. Imagine working on something for 10,000 years and waiting to see the results of it. Like, so Spirit's like, y'all have no idea. Imagine starting to plant seeds thousands and thousands of years ago for people to finally have an awakening. Imagine being that enlightened mother society that was tapped in, tuned in, turned on, and was like, oh shit, this extinction level event is going to happen. And we need to figure out a way to have people still be aware of the fact that one day we're going to have to wake up, and we want to make our way slowly back up to the level that we are now. So we need to lay the seeds of this happening, you know, of the fact that we want it to come back around eventually to where people can find their way back to being spiritually where we are now, to being spiritually enlightened where we are now. So they're showing me kind of like, they're showing me something descending from the sky, but it's like a being, some kind of being descending from the sky is what I just saw. And so I feel like, okay, so they're kind of trying to say that think that human beings take symbolism in ancient scripts like too literally. So that's when we come up with theories like ancient aliens, where they're like, oh, aliens actually descended physically, and physical beings descended from the skies. They didn't. Spirit's like, hey, oh my god, my cat, hey. It's a different cat now that's throwing things off of surfaces. I know Spirit saying just let it go. It's all part of it. So yeah, because I'm talking about a being descending, and there my cat goes like knocking something down and it descending down. Yeah. So Spirit is saying that like they're taking it too literally. There's people now, when we look back on ancient people being like, star people descended from the stars, and they didn't descend in actual physical vessels. They descended, they extended their hand out to us psychologically, like through like how people channel, how people deliver messages, how people have experiences. That people like take peyote and stuff like that, and they have like these crazy experiences and ayahuasca, and they have like these spirit journey trips. Like, that's what Spirit is basically saying. Like, did you physically actually go somewhere? No, but that doesn't make your experience any less real. And so why would ancient peoples saying, oh, a spirit guide descended from the sky and came down and talked to me? They're not actually like in their spaceships descending, you know, down from the sky. They are descending. That's why I keep saying that. They're showing me like it's like the fabric of the universe is like descending down, coming down. Like they're casting out their awareness out to us so that we can know this, right? That's who these like angelic otherworldly beings are. Hello, it's God, you know, God working through them. Ooh, and what's in between there? Look at that. It's the high priestess. Oh my gosh. So yeah, and oh yes, they kept showing me that too, because I tapped into that ancient people, and they kept saying three, 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 three. First there were three, 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 like three goddesses, like for them that were like three goddesses, which we see echoed in like paganism, you know, like the mother, the maiden, the crone, right? The maiden, the mother, the crone, right? And so, and then we have the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, and then we have like this 3, 3, 3, you know, and then what a message about 3, 3, 3. I'm not playing with y'all. That there is this they were like, there was three. There was, this ancient people was like, there were three. There was the sky, the earth, and the wind. The sky, the earth, the wind. And the wind that they call the wind is like the spirit. So there is the sky, God, the earth, the sun, and the Holy Ghost, the wind, the spirit. So there's 333. There is like this, and then of course 333 is like the, you know, like heavenly guidance number, like, right? So there is something there to that, right? There's something there to the, to how the fact that you have, that you personally have, you know, that you have God, the spirit. Hey, stop. That you have God, the spirit, you have your higher self, and then you have your 3D sac, like body, flesh body self, right? And how you exist on multiple lineages. You are a soul descended from God who has a higher self in the higher realms. You know, if you wanna get into the woo woo, you know, and then you have your physical body. You have your physical body that inhabits this earth, right? You have a physical body that inhabits this earth. You have your higher self, your soul self that lives on a higher plane, that when you ascend high enough goes straight back to God, right? And so that's, or this higher being. And so there is this kind of 333 energy that they really want to get into, the power of the three. And so this ancient people was tapped into this power of the three, you know, like again, they called it the sky, the earth, you know, like the hills or the land, the sky, the heavenly bodies above them, right? And then the wind, which was this whispering spirit that they felt, like this otherworldly something, you know, that whispered on the wind, that whispered in the trees, that whispered to them in their minds, you know, that was like their higher selves, right? And that's what that was, the 333, because they told me stories about how in their collective consciousness they remember animals not having fur, or not, or like big animals not having fur, because they had this origin story of how they prayed, oh goddess, oh goddess, oh goddess, oh 333, goddess, 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 oh goddess, please, we're cold, we're naked, we're cold. And the goddess weaved their hair together and gave animals fur, so that they could have hide to like clothe themselves and to make things out of. How they said, oh goddess, oh goddess, oh goddess, we're starving, or oh goddess, we're, you know, we need more, we get our food. Like this was maybe like like people that lived on the coastline, so they got, and they're just like, the sea was not plentiful. And then the goddess cried for all of the people that had died and filled up the earth with her tears, salt water, ocean levels rising. So there is this kind of um elevated consciousness that is here in this, you know. Yeah, reach out to me. Reach out to me. Stop playing around. I feel you wanting to. Email me. My email is down below. You know what's up. Come on. I'm ready. We can have this talk. Let's go. Okay. Anyway, that's not for everybody, but you know who you are. Let's go. Anyway, when are you finding this? August? In August? Is it August now when you're finding this? Okay. Yes, it is real. Yes, it is real. It's so funny to have conversations with people like this, because like my consciousness is like, oh, I'm talking to somebody in the future. Like, hey, future you. Like, hey, future. Like, I make messages for myself, and then I'll go back and watch them, and I'm like literally having a conversation with my past self. And so I'm like, oh, future self, you need to know this. And then I'm like, damn, how does my past self know that shit? And I'm, because I'm tuned in and tapped on. You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, yes, homelands. Okay. So this is our foundation for, almost said Four Pinnacles. This is Four Pinnacles, something we've been holding back on, not realizing this is our foundation as a people, as a race, you know, that our home was taken away from us. And there's this fear that the home, the earth, could be taken away from us again. And so there is this massive scarring, right? There is this generational scarring. 4404 down on the clock, 727 down on the real time clock. You know, there is this massive scarring in our collective consciousness that needs to be healed. Yeah. Hello. Anxiety, fear. Oh my God. anxiety, fear, oh my God. And there is this, what can I juggle this? Can I juggle going back? Spirit saying we can't hold on to this fear anymore. The sun is rising, you guys. I'm sorry, I've been up since before the sunrise, like having all these conversations with my spirit. And so the sun's rising, you guys know that all this white and all my like tile in the background like reflects light back onto my camera, and my camera is like, ugh. So sorry. Should I like change the angle a little bit? Anyway, I think that helped just a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, what we got? Ooh, yeah. So on the back of the deck, ooh, the back of the deck. On the back of the deck. Stop talking for a second so I can actually talk. Okay, so this is this 333. This is the soul contracts. This is meant to happen. This is spirit. 3 of Pentacles is about a collaboration, working together to create something here. And there's 1, 2, 3. Of course, people. 1, 2, 3. Pentacles here. 1, 2, 3 gifts being given to us, knowledge, sacred knowledge being given to us, being passed down to us, you know, to help us, 9 of Pentacles, gain our independence. And how do we gain that independence? By going inside into hermit mode, into looking deep inside of ourselves, doing a psychological journey deep within ourselves, going on the maze, going down, you know, spiraling down into the maze so that we can have a Kundalini awakening, which is our spirit self, like combining together with our physical body and back up through the spiral, you know, having that spiraling up, and having also that represents like the caduceus, like the snakes spiraling together to create healing energy for the human race, right? That's so, you know, and this kind of snakes weaving back and forth, this kind of imagery. And then of course we go take it all the way back to Genesis, where it was the snake that tempted Adam and Eve with the knowledge, right? It was this kind of curiosity. It was this, oh, the devil got us kicked out of paradise, got us kicked out of ignorance, you know, and it was like, aren't you curious? Aren't you curious to know? And Spirit is saying that like humans' curiosity is what helps them to create, which helps them to drive themselves forward. It's something that you need to detach. Like modern day philosophy being, you know, the subconscious, God must have needed to punish us for knowing something, for coming to some kind of knowledge of something. And so that's how like the genesis, you know, that's where the genesis of this happened, where we were so much happier when we were just monkeys living in trees, and now we got to know all this knowledge, and we got to know all this shit, and we can know about our own mortality, and I can sit there and fathom my own mortality, and it's, oh my God, I'm in crisis. You know, that it's just like how individuals go through midlife crisis and have things like that. The collective consciousness does it too. It just does it on a much slower scale, because it has to happen over thousands of years of people having the same experience, and then it reflects in the mass consciousness. Okay. Yeah, but with an extinction level event like this happening, yes. So we are being given a piece, that 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. So the mother here, which is being represented by Mother Gaia here, I'm really feeling that really strongly. The earth wants to give us something back, like the earth is speaking to us through, yeah, through they're saying like through the trees, through the woods, through the mountains. There is messages in the mountains, there's messages in the valleys, there's messages in the streams, as in track those geological changes backwards, and there will be messages there that you're looking for. There will be messages there. About, you know, tracking back down, digging back down during the layers of earth, how we do now, how science goes back, and we have developed instruments that can actually go back and carbon date things. We've developed instruments that can go back, and we can know things like, you know, drilling ice cores and things like that, and we can understand, or looking at tree rings, you know, ornithologists, is that what they're called? No, that's not what they're called. But anyway, or you can go back in time and like you can see like how Mother Nature provides us with basically like, yeah, like the finger, which I have just started to read this book. So I don't know, he might get into this in this book, but I'm reading right now. I was really inspired to get Graham Hancock's older book, The Fingerprints of the Gods, right? And so Mother Nature is saying, in me, you can see the fingerprints of God. You can see the working of the divine. Gods God is trying to tell us a story through these natural occurrences, through these things around us. I don't know. And I don't know. Like I said, I am literally, where am I? Oh, there it was. Dang it, I closed it. Yeah. So I'm literally here. I'm that far. I think I'm like 15 pages or something like that. Yeah, literally 15. Which 15? Isn't that the... No, 13 is the death card. 15 is the devil card. Oh, ooh, 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 ooh. And this is chapter 2. Chapter 2, Rivers in the Southern Continent. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Go back. Go back and read this chapter. Rivers in the Southern... There's something that you missed here. What is it, Spirit? Making use of earlier and later source maps left behind by this civilization. The Library of Ancient Sources, Incorporated. The Atlantic Ocean. Tiny rocks. Or was a relevant source map drawn deep in the last ice age, when sea levels were far lower than they are today, and a larger island could indeed have been exposed in this spot. Sea levels and the ice age. So there's yeah, I'm gonna definitely... Oh, I'm so excited about reading this book, you guys. I don't know, there's something really in this. So like I said before, this is not going to be a story for everybody. I know that this isn't my normal like twin flame reading, but this is a really deep collective consciousness reading that I'm really being guided to do. So I'm gonna do it. Queen of Swords. Oh, so the Queen of Swords. Okay, so they're telling me that this Queen of Swords, is another representation of the 333. So the mountains, the hills, the valleys, the earth has a piece of this story. Your spirit, our collective consciousness, our minds, what we've written, the stories that we have to tell, that has a piece of the story. Yeah, this new beginning was so slow, right? And this knowledge has been so slow because we had to wait. We had to wait for certain astrological bodies to line up. Astrology has a very important role to play because where certain heavenly bodies are allows certain frequency and allows certain movement of certain energies, which allows certain alignments too, right? Like when we come, like for me personally, it's easier for me to channel from certain collective consciousness when the earth is literally in a physical place of alignment with that collective consciousness, with the source of that collective consciousness out there in the stars, out there in the universe somewhere, right? So our astrology and the alignment of the heavenly bodies around us is very important because it has a direct effect on this spirit, right? How much spirit can talk, how much spirit can say, what collective consciousness can tap into our human collective consciousness and have a story to say or have something to say or have an effect on us or deliver some kind of piece of information of enlightenment to us, right? And with this age of Aquarius, judgment, it's like this age of Aquarius is, oh my gosh, and look at that. Did I not just talk about how the collective consciousness are out there in the sky delivering messages to us? And look, healing messages at that. Hello? That there's a collective consciousness out there in the sky blowing their trumpet, blowing their horn, and we're here being raised from the dead, being raised out of our conscious, being raised, having ego deaths, coming out of the slumber, being awoken. Hello? Being awoken, is that a waking up? Anyway, from our slumber, from our ego slumber, so that we can wake the fuck up. Come out of this confusion, Seven of Cups, to come out of this cloud of confusion, so that we can wake up and come to a higher, so that we can understand that we're not left, that we weren't left, that we weren't abandoned, that we're not alone out here in this world. There are so many people that if they came to the knowledge that we're not alone out here in this world, they wouldn't feel so bad. And it's 737, so 10. That yeah, we're reaching the end. We're reaching the end of a cycle here. You guys, stop playing with me. An invitation to connect. Through our heart chakra, through our mind. Look how through our mind we're connecting here. Look, with the astrological bodies lining up in the sky, right? With the orbs here, which are like spirit orbs, and they're all in a knowledge of this society, of this other place here with the sun behind it, of this enlightenment, bloom, down into our crown chakra, downloading into our spirit, and being here, we're birthing it, we're downloading it through our crown chakra and birthing it onto this 3D plane through our heart chakra, right? Oh, Pleiadians in the house. Hey, Pleiadians. I just heard that. Pleiadians in the house. Hey. Look. Yes. Look. 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 Family of light. So 100%, again, look, I said, right? I said that those people, right, they meditated daily, right? Like everybody, even kids, like little kids, like from the time, like there's literally moms, like with tiny infant babies meditating and connecting to higher language, connecting to this higher language, connecting to light codes, connecting to these downloads, connecting to the woo-woo that literally is the foundation of our society. So you can call it woo-woo if you want to, but literally the human race exists because of woo-woo, okay? Orbs of light, I talked about that. Orbs of light, there you go. Confirmation for that as well. Yeah, spirit is like, how many people out there have to show things like this where they say things and then it comes out directly? When will you count that as evidence? Like, I'm recreating a lab test right now. When I'm saying things, downloading them, seeing them before they happen, and then they come out in the cards, that's literally evidence right there in front of you. Look on the internet. There are thousands of people doing this every day. Not all of them are, some of them are charlatans, but some of them are real people doing real downloads, like proving that psychic knowledge and things like that is real. Like, hello? How many? Hello? Master healing. Look at that. Information, orbs of light from the stars, again, coming down, coming out through the heart chakra and into books, into knowledge, into physical knowledge. With 33, there it is. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm here. Okay, go back and look at my channel. I'm here creating hundreds of hours of physical evidence that, like, this shit is real. That's more hours of work and more hours of study than some people put into their scientific findings. Just saying. Just saying. Orbs of light. I know. Sometimes my ego too. I'm still just a human spirit. Sometimes my ego is like, but again, here, thank you, spirit. Hold with this. Hold what? Okay. So it was, what I was seeing right here was like this. It was hold your center and spiritual service. Okay. So hold this light of compassion for the understanding and for the fears, for the doubters. I understand. I know. But again, here, right, it's a part of spiritual service. It's a part of God, angels, earth. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, spirit, the creator, angels, heavenly beings, your higher self, the earth, the earthly plane, the physical 3D plane. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. God, the spirit, your physical plane. And it's about how this version of yourself is this version of yourself is getting the enlightenment from God, from God, and then here behind the veil here in the unseen worlds, right? In the unseen, behind the veil, your higher self is here downloading these messages from God down to you, right? Eternal now. The breath of God, right? The wind, right? The wind, the spirit. Look at this person being the wind. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Breathing life, breathing life into existence, breathing life. The breath of the breath, the sound, right? They're showing me now like the is it the Buddhist or the Hindi, like the sound of creation, right? Is the breath. The breath. That's the sound of creation, is the breath. I breathe life into thee. Oh my gosh. Which is why like breathing techniques are so powerful, because it replicates that breathing of life. Our lungs. There's a reason, I've always been fascinated with the connection between how like how the micro reflects in the macro, right? How the small things, like looking at cross sections of our lungs and how the bronchial tubes in our lungs, are you know what I mean? Like how that looks like a tree, and how a tree looks like if you like zoom out and you have like these pictures of what they think the universe looks like. The universe looks like a root system, like a tree system. Like that's what it looks like when you look at that. That's what I see. I see a tree, and when I see that, I see how spirit is like giving us like, okay, so your lungs do what? They help bring life into you. They help bring energy. They help you to breathe in oxygen, right? And bring energy to your body, bring life, and help bring life to your body. They're one of the parts, right? And so how these pathways, just like in a tree, how those pathways allow them to grow, leaves, which allow them to absorb sunlight and allow them to absorb oxygen that allows them to exist here, that allows them to keep living. The same happens with the universe on a macro level, right? Just how we have ages of darkness and we have ages of light, like so the universe inhales and exhales just like we do, right? So you have these massive amounts of exhales where like it's like shore, like spirit is showing me like water like lapping up on a shore, going back and forth and going back and forth and going back and forth. So there are times when we are out of the light and when we have like massive setbacks in our consciousness, and then we have these rushes forward where the spirit of the universe exhales and like brings all this life and flourishment, and then it has to inhale at a deficit, right? And it sucks out a lot of the life, and then it inhale, just like the Big Bang and the Big Rip, right? The beginning and the ending of the universe has a exhale, has a breathe out exhale where life is bloomed and the universe expands, and then we have like the great ending, the great collapsing, where things collapse back down and then they expand back out of the singularity again, right? How there is all of this, and how coming all the way down to me having a simple is reflected in how the universe works, right? It's beautiful, you guys. I love it. I freaking love it. Look at this. Would you look at this? Unplug from mass consciousness, which again, of course, is a 7, which is about spiritual enlightenment, spiritual awakening. Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh my God. And then when I looked down at the clock, it was 1, 0, 3, 2, 2. 2 plus 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh, you guys. You guys. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere. Stop playing with me, okay? Yeah, so there's this need right now, right? That this higher energy is trying to influence us, to unplug from this mass consciousness thinking of the old paradigm. There's this huge paradigm shift not only scientifically, technologically, but also spiritually. And there will be the three. There will be the three. Oh my gosh, and then it's 7:47. I'm catching down at the clock. I'm catching on 10 minutes. 10 minutes. So I got 7:27, 7:37, 7:47, like 10 10 10 10 10 10. Like there is there are these like shifts. Like they'll come to a place, like in the tarot you work from the 0, right, and then you work up to 10, or you work from the 1, like the ace, up to the 10 of suit, which means, and at the 10 it comes back down to the 1, right? So it's cycles, it's cyclical, everything is cyclical here. Oh, look at this. Cosmic heart, cosmic Christ. So there's definitely, and then, oh my gosh, you guys, and then I just talked about the ocean waves, and then look, there they are. So is again, and there's that kind of city, that kind of knowing reaching out to us, that consciousness. I really feel like this city of light here is like, for me, is symbolically in this reading really talking about, again, too, how this symbol, this city of light here, is telling you unplug from mass conscious thinking, right? And then it's family of light, right? The family of light living in this city of light is encouraging all of us, and they're sending down these orbs of light, which are like downloads, like star codes and downloads, right, into us. So we're like shoo, 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 orbs of light, bing, into our third eye, into our consciousness, into our crown chakra, of being like, oh, our higher selves. This, they want us to, yeah, is a spiritual decree again. Look of the universe here, the space being reflected in this. Crazy. Fifth ray, yeah. And so Spirit also wants to know is that when Spirit also wants you to know that this will also, the way like I've been talking, will reflect in the macro, that this too will reflect in the macro. So there will be this need for you to understand that, just like how there is there will be people who resist this paradigm shift, that will reflect in your life, like while you are having a personal paradigm shift, and you are going through your personal spiritual awakening, and you are going through your personal dark night of the soul, and you are evolving personally. There will, that just like that, how you are trying to create a paradigm shift within yourself, this will reflect in the mass consciousness as well, how mass consciousness will try to fight against this paradigm shift here, right? They will try to fight against this. And that when you are a person here delivering key information here, okay, key of light, when you have the key of light, when you are giving information here to the people, there will be people that react against this light. And that when you are a light worker here, when you are a starseed here, there will be people in your consciousness, there will be people in your community, there will be people in the spaces that you are trying to go into that will be like, that's not the way things have always been done, huff huff huff, away with you and your fringe ideas and your woo woo, it'll be there. But you have this third ray of creative intelligence, like you are here to transform. So don't allow friends and family or people in your community not believing you at first stop you from following your dream. Dark angel, you have an angel leading you here through the dark night of the soul, through your dark night of the soul, through this dark night of rejection. Keep going. Don't allow that to stop you back. Invitation by water. There's something really significant about the water, and then we were talking about the part in the book that I cut on that was really significant was the waterways and the streams. So there's this energy here around, like there's knowledge in the water, there's knowledge in the streams, there's knowledge in. They're showing me like water cutting rings, or cutting into, like how water has the ability to cut into the most powerful stone after a while, right? Look, you are not for everyone, and that's okay, right? You're not for everyone, and that's all right. Embrace your weirdness, face your true north. Yeah, and so like face your north node, face your destiny here. There are so many of you out there that it's your destiny, and you have star family. You're part of a team of soul, call in support. So there's people out there, right? Again, like in the city of light here, putting out all of these orbs of light, putting out all these people out there to really try to help. And so they're trying to say, humans, you're not alone. You're not alone in this existence. You're not alone in this world. You know, we've been contacting you. Like, we contact you every day. Like, so people are like, we want to find some microscopic speck on some moon somewhere, and it proves that the universe is full of existence. Like, you have contact with otherworldly beings every single day. Wake up. Like, again, like I said, do you really need to be able to bring it back home and put it under a microscope to really be able to say for a fact that it's happening out there? Jump in. Andromedan energy adventures, say yes to change. Hello, jump in. Jump into the collective consciousness. That's what you did here. There's so many light soul workers and soul family people here. And if some of you scientists would pay attention to the woo-woo, you'd understand a few more things, okay? Earth pulsing. Pulse of the mother. Slow down. Time and nature. Yeah, exactly. Look. And then what's happening in the background? It's a freaking waterfall. There's a freaking waterfall where this water has cut a ridge here and has created a waterfall here. And what is happening? It's pouring straight where? Into this person's heart chakra. What's here? Big picture. Big picture thinking. And what did I say? I said, oh, Palladians in the house. Big picture thinking, Palladian energy, visionary, inspired ideas. So the Palladian energy, there's collective consciousness here, okay, that's trying to help us here, deep cellular healing, have this deep cellular, like psychological, spiritual healing here, because we got scarred. We got scarred by the fact that we almost died as a race. The seven star sisters. Birthing, creation, tapestry of life, expression. The seven sisters. Isn't that a constellation? It is. It is. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chill. There's 7 major stars in the background right here. I said, wait. And then look. There again is the gateway. Just like the gateway that I was talking about. Just like the archway that I was talking about that was in here. How I was like the 333. How there was like, how above was the dove that represented like God, right? Or the source consciousness. And then here, and then look, there's a big star there, source consciousness. Your higher self, which is a collection of all your different lifetimes and souls and soul collective consciousness out there. And then look, the earth plane here being separated by this gateway here, right? Which is the veil. Y'all see this? I know y'all see this here. This repeating in all these different decks. And then again, there again is that same archway back here. And we're talking about this archway is bringing collective conscious healing here to the earth. Ooh-wee. All paths lead home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. Chill, and then look. There's the circles. There's the concentric circles I was just talking about. Concentric circles, and then look, the water. There's the water, and there's the concentric circles I was just talking about. And what was I talking about earlier? The path, the spiraling path down that comes back up. And then look, all paths lead home. That spiraling path down that comes back up. Y'all stop playing with me. Y'all stop playing with me. You think I'm just playing? You think I'm for play here just because I'm using tarot? I'm not for play. Karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. Exactly. We learn here on this earth plane from 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's also like 1, 2, 3, like Orion's belt. But 1, 2, 3. Y'all, That is, I can tell y'all how synchronistic for me that is, because for the past 2 years, you guys, for the past 2 years, anytime, I don't care where I am, I don't care what, if it's at night, I don't care in which direction I look. If I look up to the sky, the first thing that I see is Orion's belt. The first thing that I see is the constellation of Orion. And I'm like, and I like, it happens so much that I'm just like, what does this mean? Like, why? Like, why is every single time I'm looking up at the sky, and it doesn't matter if I look this way, like I'll just be walking around outside and something will say look up, and I'll just look up, and where I just naturally look up, boom, there's Orion. Boom, there's Orion. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, there it is again. There it is again. Sometimes it's on this side, sometimes it's on that side, sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high. Doesn't matter. Like spirit will be like, look up, and I look up, and it's Orion. And I can't tell you. And I've just been asking for years. I'm like, Spirit, what does this mean? Tell me what this means. And Spirit's like, it will mean what it means, and it will mean what it means when it means. Oh my God. Woo! And I'm, and y'all don't understand that. Y'all don't know that. Not that you don't understand, but I mean, I have no proof for that, right? I just know within myself that that's something that's been happening, right? So it's just like, boom, there's the synchronicity of it finally hitting me in my brain. 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Spirit is guiding me to look up the names of the stars that make up Orion's belt. And I literally just watched a thing the other day about this, so I feel like I should know this. I know that one of the stars that makes up Orion is Betelgeuse. Its name is Betelgeuse, but I think that's its foot, because it's like a red dwarf. It's like the one star that's in there. All the rest of them are made out of like blue stars, but this one is like red dwarf star. So it's like the one that looks orange when you look at it, and it makes up the foot. Okay, stars. Orion's belt. Oh shit. Orion's belt, or the belt of Orion, also known as the Three Kings or the Three Sisters. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Consist of, what are their names? Oh my God. That is a card in this deck? Is it this deck or is it the other deck? Minnetonka. Okay, there's no way. Oh shit, that's also, I'm sorry you guys, I'm having so many like personal synchronicities happening right now. Orion's belt, and including the Flame Nebula. So there's a picture of Orion's belt they're showing that has the Flame Nebula on the left, and on the lower left it has the Horsehead Nebula. And horses have been so significant to me over the last like week or so. I've just been getting all of these like things about horses, and I'm like, what is so significant about horses suddenly? Yes, I was terrified of horses when I was a little kid. And now that as I'm getting older, like I'm not as scared of them anymore, but I know they're so powerful. There's something about them that kind of like, I'm like, oh, you're big. Oh, you're big and powerful. And I don't know. I don't know why. Anyway, Alanak, Al-Nimun, and Minnetonka. That's the names of the stars. So I know that I've freaking totally murdered that. Is it going to show? But there they are. 1, 2, and 3. And this one right here, I'm pretty sure is a card in this deck. And it's called the Seas. The Seas of, oh my God. Can I find this? Is this, oh, there it is. Oh my God, yes. And of course, it's right behind Star Family. It's got Star Family right behind it. Yes, it is. Oh my God. Seeding potential, bringing unconsciousness to light. Oh my gosh, there it is, you guys. And it's the seas. Of course it is. The sea, the ocean, the water. Oh my God, you guys. Woo! Thank y'all for everyone who's taken the time. Y'all, is this the Horsehead Nebula behind it? Is this the Horsehead Nebula behind it? Like back here in the background, see how it has that star, which is obviously I've never read the book of this deck. I've never been guided to read the book of this deck. They've always just asked me to intuitively, but like it probably says something about how, you know, it's a star in Orion's belt in the book of this deck, but I've never been guided to read the book, so probably should do that. But I'm pretty sure that's one of the stars, and then look, I'm pretty sure that's the Horsehead Nebula right there behind it. You guys be open to the way, okay? You guys be open to the way. Spirit be talking to you. Star Keeper. Cosmic ancestors seed the light by staying grounded. And then again, there it is. There's the portal through what? Your heart chakra. There you are, having these downloads through your crown chakra and birthing them here onto the 3D through this portal in your heart chakra. That plane is so low. My gosh. They're coming to get me, you guys. Why are these all upside down? Water your garden. Earthened. Learning how to be human in a world but not of it. And loosen your grip. Coping mechanisms. Density. Addiction. Let God in. Nourishment. Body care. Tenderness. Rest. So Spirit is saying that this healing, right? Nourishment, body care, caring for your body is very going to be important right now. And I'm being guided to drink a shit ton of water. Let's do it. Let's all take a drink together. Woo. Okay. Oh, you guys, I'm gonna run late for work. Spirit just said, this is your work. Yeah, that's true. Earth and yeah, again, with this, hey, take care of your body, because they understand that you might reject your body because you're like, oh, I'm a starseed. I don't want to be here. I'm just on this earth and everybody's so like, ugh. But anyway, coping mechanisms, right? I talked about that earlier, about how us developing such a strong ego was a coping mechanism to how we felt this addiction, you know, this density is what I meant to say, this density. So we have this addiction to this density. We have this addiction to our ego, you know, and Spirit is saying, let God in. Because we experience the fall, right? We experience coming here to the earth and feeling earthened here. But Spirit is saying, jump in, because this school, earth school, life lessons, soul growth, study, higher learning. That's why so many of us starseeds feel so like, you know, fringe. We feel so fringe. We feel so drawn to the woo-woo. We feel so drawn to all this stuff that everybody just calls whatever. But it's baby steps. It's baby steps. So you're taking baby steps. Look, and there's the portal again. Taking baby steps towards this portal, towards allowing this to happen. You guys. Is it Vega? Is that what you're saying? With these star systems here. Agape and Centaurus. Vega from the constellation, from the star system Vega. A binary star system. Water your garden. Came out again. Wait. It's not time yet. Things are being woven. So yeah, so a big part of my spiritual journey has been learning to wait for the appropriate time. Because it could be so, You guys, it can create so much anxiety inside of you when you know all these events are happening, and when spirit is giving you all these hints but it's like you're writing down things and you're experiencing things and people are looking at you like you're crazy. What are you talking about? And these things aren't happening until like years later. And then you're like, put in the 1 to 2 to 3 together. Hello? I've been talking about this for years. Hello? Oh my God. This is what I've been talking about, and not everybody's on your journey. So not everybody's going to see, like how I was talking about how, like, me saying, oh, every single time I look up into the stars, I see Orion. That's not something that you guys can personally experience, right? Like you can, maybe you've been guided. Maybe some of you have been guided to go through that same experience. Let me know down in the comment section down below if you feel comfortable sharing your experience. If not, you can personally share it at my email link down below. Okay. But I'm just saying, that's not something that people can have proof of. That doesn't make it any less real to my experience, right? But it's not something I can prove. I can't prove that. It's just something for me to know and for everybody else to find out. Activated earth, power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. Yeah. So a lot of you are being led to these places, being led to certain geographic places on the earth, okay? That have these ley lines, that have these power grid lines in them. Some of you are being guided to places like are being guided to research like stone monoliths, like Stonehenge and things like that. Some of you are being guided to focus on the ocean, to focus on the shoreline, to focus on the rivers and the lakes and the streams. And some of you are being asked to focus on like the mountains, or like oh yeah, so Spirit is showing me like how the water here has cut these valleys, has cut these valleys here, and how some people are studying like the water and the movement of the water, and then how some people are studying like past how some people are studying like uh, evidence like pottery, past cultures. Why is that the word for that leaping out of my mind right now? No, it's not astronomy, it's not astrology. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. But some of you are being are being asked to study that, to study like old ancient civilizations, old ancient like markings and power places that seem to have all this like the symbolism. And a lot of you are going to get like these massive downloads. That's what this starlight, like boom, like massive downloads about these about certain places and about seeing certain things. Like you're going to have these massive downloads about this. My God, this is a lot, you guys. Woo! I'm tired now. Y'all, I'm so tired now. And I still have to go work a 10-hour shift at my job. Okay. Oh, I'm holding my whole deck upside down. My bad. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. Star ancestors, hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. And there, look, there's the pyramids. Like I was saying, these ancient places. The great severing. No. Serving. The great serving. Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. But also, again, look how at the bottom of this huge valley is what? This tiny river. And how at one point, this tiny river cut its way all the way. Well, the wind too, like water and wind, like cut this whole valley here. Right? And how the micro is reflected in the macro. How the macro is reflected in the micro. Right? Oh, yeah. Portal. There's you. Finally, baby stepping all the way up straight to the portal. There you are. Okay. Doors are opening. You decide rewards wild card. So you're getting really close to this portal. There's something here too in like study. Okay. Yeah. So there's something here too in like studying is like diamonds or crystals. Cause see all these crystals here, these crystalline structures. Studying like, and this looks like a cut, like layers of the earth. So this is like right here, they're showing me like rudimentary like sediment, like river bottom, like sediment deposits. And you cut and there's layers of like diamonds or layers of quartz crystals, layers of crystals, and then you cut. And then here, I don't know if you guys, my camera can pick it up. There's like all of this like carved stuff here, which represents like the ancient civilizations, right? So there's this ancient civilizations here, and then cut to a different time where it's like buried underneath like the ocean and river bottoms and like stuff where it got washed over, where like all of this like sedimentary rock got washed over. But there will be a place here where it's like underneath water now. Perhaps it won't always be underneath water, but in the next 10 to 20 years, Spirit is saying that we're going to be able to explore this place that now is covered in water, or now at one point was covered in water, and then you dig underneath that and you're going to find ancient civilizations, pottery, things like that. You might even find like some kind of like codex or some kind of like ancient writing, kind of how they found, you know, like ancient tablets and things like that have been found in stone. You're going to find something that's going to be like, oh my God, Atlantis was real. Boom, in your face. In your face. You want something to put under a microscope? Put this under a microscope. That's how somebody feels. And then underneath that, there's going to be all this layer of like crystalline glass or something. It's like high impact, high heats. Stuff that's like underneath that, there's going to be a crystalline layer. So there you go. For those scientists out there watching, because I know you're watching. Child of the cosmos, intelligence of the universe lies within you. I know. But do you know? I remember. Do you know? Soul plan, the fated life versus the destiny life. Ooh. Yeah, it's like the fated life versus the destiny, like what you thought you were fated to do versus what it's truly for you to do. What destiny was given to this life versus who you were born into this world, and who what you're programming, what your 3D earth programming, what your family, what society, what the collective consciousness has told you is the truth, versus what it is really your destiny to unveil the real truth here. Somebody's going to have some really powerful downloads from like water scrying as well. Pop out of the cha. Get into it, yeah. Yeah. I said, fuck it, get into it, yeah. Yeah. So somebody here is being asked to, like, no matter how crazy it sounds, start putting your theory out there. No matter how weird and rejected it sounds, start doing the research. No matter how much you tell, you like, you might get some kind of download and be like, no way, there's no way that's true. There's no way that's happening. But there's a reason that you're being pushed to feel that way, or you're being pushed to see what you see, or you're having that curiosity that's scratching at the back of your mind that's like, but what if it is? What if it's true? What does it really mean? Like, there'll be so many people who will be being awoken to their destiny, to their North Node energy, to what they're supposed to be doing here on this world, because they will have an experience, and then they will be like, then their mass consciousness thinking will kick in, and they'll be like, no, that's not what all the books, that's not what all the research says, that's not what we've been taught. But people, history changes all the time, you know. Facts, things that we'll live hundreds of years knowing a fact, and suddenly we'll be like, no, fact, the earth is the center of the universe. Fact, the earth is flat. Fact, no. And there's things like this all the time, and change is just a part of it. But like, this resistance to change needs to end in the human race. Like your curiosity, this rejection of curiosity is what made Eve bite the apple, and it got us kicked out. Shame, shame, shame on knowledge, shame on truth, shame on curiosity. Like, no. Like, literally because some far, 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 far distant ancestor looked up and wondered, looked up and realized, had a curiosity. What is that? What are those lights in this up there? What is that? Where am I? Who am I? Does this mean something? There's something here. And that's the beginning of intelligence. That's the beginning of intelligence as we know it in the human race, is somebody's sitting there doing something in a feed, like freaking picking fruits or something to eat, and they're sitting there and they're like, what is that? What is that? Does that mean something? And because some distant relative of ours was like, what does that mean? What is that? I am a being. I am having an experience. I have a something inside of me that knows things about the things I'm seeing. I'm not just existing in this space and gathering, one, animals have a lot greater intelligence and compassion and, relationships and things that we want to give them credit for. But however, hey, I'm sorry, she was running straight towards that mouse to click the stop button. And I know, I saw you doing it. I know I need to get off of here. I do need to get off of here. I'm sorry, you guys. But, yeah, I could just sit here and talk about this for hours with you guys. I love having these conversations. Yeah. Yeah, but the overall is you are not alone. There was this event that really put this scarring into people to think that somehow we need to be punished and we're alone and God must have left us. And Spirit is like, God hasn't left you. Like, look around and see how do you think you made it through that extension level event without the help of others? You did. How do you think you looked up at the sky and wondered one day? One day you're sitting in the field, sitting in the trees, and then you think, what's over there? What's up there? I'm going to look up, and I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to wonder, and I'm going to realize I am. I am. Yeah, and you're not for everyone. That's okay. This theory won't be for everyone. There'll be people that are like, no, the Bible, blah, blah, whatever. There'll always be people that have an issue with paradigm shifts. There always are. There always are. However, first way of power, stand inside your power, your intellect, right? Again, right? Spirit is saying, yo, like, there's always this paradigm. There will always be these people that are like, I think not. But the higher consciousness up there is reminding us at all times, again, God, the creator, consciousness, higher self, 3D world, When we're doing these paradigm shifts, you're getting the key here, getting the keys to the streets, getting the keys to existence, getting the keys to understanding. And there's something so significant about water here. It's not just about taking a bath. But I am being reminded of that nourishment. Like, there is, like, nourishment in the water. There's intelligence in the water. There's a knowing that the water has to show us here. Again, with the seas, right? There's a knowing here. So I have a little experiment for you scientists out there watching this. You ever heard of blessing your water? You ever heard of putting crystalline structures inside your water? Obviously, not all crystals can, but just try it. Try it and see if you don't have some breakthroughs in your scientific microscoping, okay? there is an intelligence out there that's really encouraging. There's a scientist that's watching my video right now, and they're encouraging you to, if you're not already doing this, to be more, one, to be more open about your spiritual practices in the science community, because your spiritual practices are what is giving you the enlightenment, which is giving you the nudges, like your spiritual awakenings, your trips, your spirit journeys are giving you the awakenings to do this. So be more open. Like, don't worry about old fuddy-duddy people telling you that you can't be spiritual and that you can't be science at the same time, that those things can exist. That is part of the old paradigm. Try to break out of it. Also, think about, there is some sense here of saying a prayer or blessing your water, or just asking the universe, say, hey, universe, I want you to put some kind of knowledge that you want me to know, where you want me to go, inside this water. And then drink it. Fuck around and find out. Okay. That's what my spirit guides just said. Fuck around and find out. 7th ray of ritual, order, and ceremony. Yeah. And it might take more than one time, you know, but yeah, fuck around and find out. Soul child. Yeah. Dark angel. Yeah. I feel like there are a lot more like scientific people here that are that like study these things, that are going to be having these spiritual experiences, or there are a lot more of these scientific people who are a lot more spiritual than they want to admit, because they feel like admitting that they have spirituality, you know, it's like, you know, all these people want to attack them. It would be like, you can't be a scientist, or you can't believe in science and believe in God at the same time. It's like, the fuck, why not? The fuck, why not? You know, believing in spirituality actually opens my mind to greater understanding. It doesn't limit my mind. It's those other people's problems that have a limited perspective on what religion and what spirituality and what connection can got, what, you know, because of course, a lot of these people have had very limiting experiences with people who are very limited, people who believe in certain religions. That doesn't, you know, and yes, and of course, like, religions were designed by people. Okay. Religions were designed by people, and they're disseminated down through people, through collective consciousness. And that, you know, a lot of these religions are part of the old paradigm, and a lot of them are going to be shifting. They're going to be changing. And I'm not saying that those old religions are going to go away, but the practices and the majority belief of a lot of these religions are going to be shifting to something closer to like understanding that this doesn't have to be, you know, this is an old paradigm that the church and science has to fight each other. Get over it, because you're much more powerful together than you are apart. Much more powerful together. But there are people who are not for that, that invade churches, that invade religion, that invade the religious belief system, and dark people can make their way into writing books and deciding what the knowledge we're allowed to have, okay? And there are people who work to keep us all asleep inside the matrix, who invade every single part, including high level positions in government and in religious faction, or in religious institutions as well. And that's something that we don't want to admit, but grounding. Anyway, I gotta move on. I'm running late already, but that's okay. I'm actually not running late. I'm going directly on time. I'm running right where I'm supposed to be, when I'm supposed to be. There it is. I knew I was like, wait a minute, I'm gathering. Are there any more? Are there any more of these other cards from this other deck hiding in this big ass deck? No, I don't think so. Okay. I'm surprised the paradigm shift card didn't come out. Yeah, but through this creative intelligence, you're creating a lot of earth healing happening here. You're healing this past consciousness. Y'all, this baby in the background like creeps me out so bad. Every single time I look at that card, I'm like, what's that baby's issue? That baby got issues. Multifaceted, unique nature, let yourself be seen. Yeah. So a lot of you are being asked to like let yourself be seen, to really allow yourself to allow all parts of yourself to authentically be shown to people. Even in communities that traditionally like reject that about that part of you, because there are so many people that I'm finding out now that are like, well, if I'm really honest about, what was your inspiration to start this book? What was your inspiration to see this idea? Well, if I was really being honest, I had a spiritual experience, or I had I was tripping on acid or on mushrooms and had a spiritual experience. They don't want to call it a spiritual experience, but that's what you're having when you sit there and you're like, oh, I was looking at here and I saw something and I felt there was a story that needed to be told about this. Yeah, I feel that all the time. It's called spiritual nudging. It's called, you look at something and spirit says, there's a story here you need to tell. And so it's okay. It's okay. The woo-woo is coming. It's got you. It's already there. Like, I don't understand why people want to act like it's not there, but it is. I don't know why, but Spirit encouraged me to show you guys this. It's slime. It's slime. Like, I've been using this slime to like help me like meditate and stuff, and to just like help relieve like stress with playing with slime. It is what it is. It's helping me do a lot of my inner child healing that I'm doing right now. Sorry, that's the slime, you guys. That's the slime. But yeah, it's so relaxing. Oh, a pearl popped out. Our pearl's going to be significant. There's something about, because there was that clamshell on the top, and then is somebody like studying, studying like pearls or studying something like that? I don't know, maybe something. There could be something there. Check it out. Check it out. Like dissecting, like cutting a pearl in half and dissecting like the rings inside of a pearl, just like reading rings of a tree. Something like that. Can you do that? I don't know, but there's something there. Somebody's doing something over there, especially the ocean people, the people I was talking about studying the ocean. Okay, so Spirit wants me to link, is wanting me to there is a video, one of the first like channeling videos that I ever did here, and I think it's in my Starseed video. Like, I think it's called like, oh, I can't remember what it's called. It's like channeling. It's like a Palladian channeling video, or Starseed channeling that I did. And we go into, actually, is it this deck or is it the word? I think it's actually this deck that I use in that video. And I talk about how I literally give like specific names of people who are going to be watching the video, who are going to be studying certain things. And I go into like basically like around like the midway through the video, it kind of shifts to what I'm talking about, and suddenly Spirit starts talking about how there are going to be all these scientists discovering all these things about Earth, and they're going to, and they're going to be discovering all these new ways of understanding, like understanding our place in the universe. And that in that, I remember that I was talking about how people were going to be studying like marine life and aquatic life, and I literally called out people by their name. I can't remember what their names are, but if you feel drawn to, if you feel that little tingle in your gut, that curiosity to go watch that video, I will try to remember to link it. But if not, just go check my playlist. It's like one of the first videos that I uploaded. And I have like a plaid shirt on in the video, and I'm sitting there and my hair is like up in the thumbnail of the video. And if I don't forget, I will try to make it the video that plays after this video. So it should be like on the screen being recommended to you somewhere, like here or here. Okay, thank you guys so very much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it. I really love you guys. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being part of my collective. Thanks for allowing me to talk to you and having this interaction with you. I really appreciate it. Okay, I really, really, really have to go. I'm running late already, but it's okay. And thank you for being guided here. I really appreciate it. Thank you to your spirit guides. Thank you to your curiosity, whatever it was that led you to click on this video, which for most of you was your spirit guides. I thank them. And I thank you too for being open-minded enough to listen to this download, to make it all the way here to the end. I really appreciate you. Put like a little alien head emoji if you made it all the way to the end of this video. And if you want to talk to me about it in the comment section down below, or email me and we could talk about it, because I love talking about this shit. So let's go. I'm really thinking about making like a Patreon, or making like a members channel about this stuff. So tell me, guys, if you would be interested in making a members channel and talking about this stuff. Like, I really feel like people who want to talk about this stuff is part of my like true collective. And so, not saying that if you're here just for the love readings and stuff, but you probably won't be here still all the way at the end of this video if you're just here for the love readings and stuff, which those our interpersonal relationships are very important to our spiritual journey as well. The macro, reflects, this is a macro reading, but I do micro readings about your interpersonal relationships and about love and about silly things, silly fun things that are fun to talk about, because having fun and talking about silly things and pick a card readings are just as important, as just an important part of life as anything else is, and my spirit guides have a way of bringing out really deep messages, even in little silly readings, even in readings when I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna have a good time and talk about this or talk about that. I feel like really deep stuff still comes out in those readings, and I'm like, okay. So thank you guys so very much. I really appreciate you guys as always. Again, that video that I was talking about should be like popping up here soon. So I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you to my spirit guides for helping me to channel. Thank you for the consciousness out there that is helping us as a human race heal. We are eternally grateful, even though a lot of us don't even acknowledge your existence, or don't even acknowledge that you are silently helping us to improve and to heal every single day. I am part of the people that are here thanking you. So thank you. And yeah, that's what I have. If you like the content, give it a like. If this resonated for you, comment down below or email me if you want to privately. If you feel like it's too private to talk about, you're welcome to do that as well. Or if you want a personal reading from me, I do offer personal readings, and I can do like deep history dives and readings like this as well. I would be fascinated to do those things. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. We can talk about it. Email me about it. And what else? That's all. That's all I really have. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you for being here. So I will see you lovelies in the next one. Okay. Bye. Boop, boop, boop. I don't know why I felt guided to point out that rabbit in the background, but I did. Okay, bye.